Chapter 3 Foundation Establishment. 5 years passed. Finally, I've established my foundation. While the outside world regarded him as Emperor Sui, Lin Feng finally crossed the threshold of level 100 and broke through to the Foundation Establishment realm. He had been at level 99 for a while, but breaking through to Foundation Establishment required a lot of materials. Lin Feng, fearful of death, didn't venture out to search. Persistence pays off. Relying on daily sign-ins and opening treasure chests, Lin Feng continuously gathered materials, eventually accumulating enough for Heavenly Tao Foundation establishment. Feeling the immensely abundant power within, Lin Feng was very satisfied. Living in the mountains, he lost track of time. Had it not been for the system recording time, Lin Feng wouldn't have known how long it had been. Logically, reaching Foundation establishment should change many statistics. Lin Feng thought, opening his panel to check his information. Host level, Level 100, Foundation Establishment First Stage, Lifespan, 22 1 and 3. Spirit Roots, Fire Spirit Root 80, Water Spirit Root 40, Wind Spirit Root 30, Earth Spirit Root 18, Thunder Spirit Root 22, Wood Spirit Root 9. Mental Power, Cultivation Technique, Tao Guided Breathing Technique. Spell, none. Treasure, none. Skills, Cooking Expert, Building, Expert, Planting, Expert, Pottery, Ordinary. The increase in spirit root points was from various spirit fruits Lin Feng got through sign-ins. In the system space, there were various surplus materials, all accumulated by Lin Feng to gather materials for Heavenly Tao Foundation establishment. If only there were an auction. Lin Feng sighed internally. If there were an auction, he could sell all these surplus materials for spirit stones. But for 5 whole years, there wasn't a single notification of an auction in the mails. Could it be because he was still in the newbie village? Maybe there would be auctions if he left the newbie village and went near towns. But that was a step Lin Feng would never take. After all, this was deep in the mountains. For 5 years, this place had been relatively safe. But what if he went out and got lost, or stumbled into the territory of a fierce beast and got eaten without even leaving bones behind? Time is what I have most, so let's cultivate slowly. Lin Feng steadied his mind, comforting himself. Survival is more important than anything. Moreover, after breaking through to Foundation establishment, his lifespan limit greatly increased to 103 years. Having lived in this world for over 5 years, Lin Feng's living conditions had greatly improved. Looking at the house before him, he was full of mixed feelings. Living in an almost primitive forest for 3 years, such a thought would have been unimaginable before. Now, his residence had developed into a small village with a vegetable garden. There was even a water storage pond he had dug. Still, it's somewhat boring. As the saying goes, contentment brings desire. Lin Feng caught a few crickets, put them in a pottery bowl, and played with fighting crickets. Just then, a thin teenager, walking with his head down and only a tattered beast skin skirt wrapped around his waist, unknowingly entered Lin Feng's residence. He was thin and bony, but his eyes were bright and spirited. Since Xiaoman unified the tribes, humans gradually learned to make traps, hunt cooperatively, and so on. But some incredibly strong beasts couldn't be defeated by human strength. Moreover, these beasts often raided villages. This aroused Xiaoman's desire to conquer. He decreed that anyone who could deal with the strong beasts in the mountains would be granted women, animal skins, and meat. The thin and bony teenager was intently thinking about this challenge. He wanted to try a different approach, raising poisonous insects to subdue the beasts with poison. But no matter what he did, he couldn't even poison an ordinary mouse, let alone overturn those beasts in the mountains. When the boy saw Lin Feng playing with fighting crickets, his eyes lit up. Let those poisonous insects fight, select the most powerful one. Then release another batch to fight, deciding an even stronger one. Keep fighting them. Eventually, one of these insects' poison will be able to kill the strange beasts. The young boy's breath quickened, ideas wildly dancing in his mind. Lin Feng also noticed this person, finding him somewhat strange. How pitiful, so thin. Lin Feng thought and took away the crickets from the bowl, washed it clean, and made a bowl of cabbage soup for the boy. Drinking the soup, the boy felt a warm glow throughout his body. May I have this?" the boy mumbled, pointing at the bowl in his hands. Take it. Lin Feng was generous. With his pottery skills, making a bowl was not a difficult task. The boy, however, was just too pitiable, stirring Lin Feng's compassion. Taking the bowl, the boy knelt and knocked his head on the ground 3 times before leaving. Watching the boy's departing figure, Lin Feng suddenly felt truly fortunate. He had a small house, no worries about food or clothes, and was safe and secure. At this time, the boy returned to his tribe. Although Xiaoman had unified the tribes, each still retained their own surnames. The boy's tribe was the Miao people. His name was Miao Rengu. Little Bone, so thin, your name, Little Bone, is truly fitting. Little Bone, your poisonous insects can't even kill a mouse. Stop wasting your time. Doubt and ridicule filled the tribe. No one believed that the tiny poisonous insect raised by Miao Rengu could kill the massive strange beasts. However, to all this, Miao Rengu turned a deaf ear. He tirelessly researched raising poisonous insects, continually searching for various rare and peculiar bugs. Despite paying a great price, his body bitten by poisonous insects, his face becoming ugly, Miao Rengu never stopped. He amassed a vast amount of experience in cultivating poisonous insects. Finally, one day, the boy went alone into the deep mountains and released his poisonous insects. Soon, 1, 2, 3, many strange beasts were poisoned and fell to the ground. The boy roared in his heart, knelt on the ground, looked up to the sky, and wept bitterly, wildly releasing his inner emotions. He ignored everyone's misunderstanding, mockery, and even those who called him a coward trying to escape hunting responsibilities. Miao Rengu swallowed all these, lonely to the point of only being able to confide in his poisonous insects. When he felt he couldn't go on, the image of Lin Feng playing with crickets always came to mind. Heaven has bestowed me with this opportunity, leading me to master this technique. If I give up now, I would be dishonoring the heavens. Finally, one day, Xiaoman gathered the tribe's best to discuss ways to deal with the strange beasts. I am incredibly strong. Let me try. I have cunning strength. Let me try. My 3 brothers and I are of one mind. We can capture the strange beast together. Everyone expressed great confidence, but none succeeded in capturing the beasts. When people lamented that the strange beasts were beyond human capability, a small figure approached from a distance. He held a pottery bowl in one hand, the other hand dragging a rope tied to the strange beast, struggling to move his feet. His small frame, contrasted with the massive body of the beast behind him, created a stark disparity. Not just one strange beast. Everyone was profoundly shocked. What method could possibly deal with the terrifying beasts of the mountains? Even Xiaoman was full of praise, looking at the pottery bowl in Miao Rengu's hand. Inside the bowl, a tiny poisonous insect crawled. What technique is this? Goo! The boy thought for a moment, then replied in a hoarse voice. Chapter 4. The Ancestor of Goo. Bone? An insect placed in a bowl. This is the art of Goo. Amidst everyone's confusion, Miao Rengu took a branch and wrote his own creation in the sand. A small world, only as big as the mouth of a bowl, yet capable of nurturing an insect that even the strange beasts of the mountains fear. Xiaoman marveled at this, clucking his tongue in amazement, considering him a genius bestowed by heaven. However, Miao Rengu appeared very indifferent to this praise. It's not my talent, but a gift from the heavens. I pondered deeply on how to deal with the strange beasts, and by mistake, I entered the vast mountains where I met a divine being who taught me the art of Goo. Xiaoman, who was laughing heartily, froze when he heard these words. The vast mountains again? He rose from his stone seat, tilting his head, looking towards the east. There, where the roars of giant beasts echoed, countless mountains stretched endlessly, always considered a wild and barren land. But it was there he had met the deity who taught him to use fire, Sui. And now, a member of the Miao tribe had also encountered a deity who taught the art of Goo in the same mountains. Could it be that these mountains truly housed divine beings? Xiaoman's eyes, as he gazed towards the mountains, were filled with reverence. There are indeed deities living in these mountains. Xiaoman sighed deeply, choosing not to discuss it further. But some matters, the less you talk about them, the more curious people become. Although Miao Rengu was not a high-profile person, The story of him receiving divine treasures and being taught the art of Gu in the mountains spread among all the clans of the tribe. From then on, the might of Gu techniques became renowned throughout the tribe. Miao Rengu naturally became the chief of the Miao people's tribe. A new stone carving appeared in the Miao tribe, depicting Lin Feng crouching on the ground, playing with crickets. This is the ancestor of Gu. Under Miao Rengu's promotion, many in the tribe became Gu practitioners. Simultaneously, every Gu practitioner worshipped the stone carving of Lin Feng. Unaware of being revered as the ancestor of Gu, Lin Feng only saw the boy as a poor little refugee who happened to see him playing with crickets and then asked for a bowl. System: sign me in. Congratulations to the host, you've gained experience 500, Thunder Spirit Fruit 3. Finally, Foundation Establishment Second Stage. Lin Feng hadn't missed a single day of signing in. You practiced using the Dao guided breathing technique and gained experience 500. Through relentless effort, Lin Feng had finally accumulated enough experience to advance to the second stage of Foundation Establishment. In the early stages, 500 experience might be enough for 5 levels, but in the later stages, even 5,000 experience might not be enough for 1 level. Such is the nature of the game. As a game planner, Lin Feng had perfectly inherited all the traits of a dog planner, setting the leveling system this way. Now Lin Feng only wanted to slap himself. Ah, if only 500 experience could raise me 500 levels. Lin Feng casually sighed. Fortunately, he didn't need to worry about cultivation deviations or encountering heavenly tribulations and being struck by lightning. As long as he had experience, he could level up. There were no risks involved. Even breaking through realms only required accumulating materials. Due to the success rate mechanism, breakthroughs weren't guaranteed. For other cultivators, a failure could be devastating. At best, their Dantian would be destroyed, meridians severed. At worst, they would be completely annihilated. But for Lin Feng, none of this was an issue. Just accumulate the materials again and attempt the breakthrough once more. Lin Feng glanced at his panel, thinking that a few more years of signing in and gathering materials would allow him to break through the Foundation Establishment period. Lin Feng continued his stable and leisurely life. Until one day, a small beast broke into Lin Feng's backyard, wreaking havoc in his vegetable garden. The beast had slick gray fur, a round head, and you could feel 2 meaty protrusions just beneath its head when you touched it. It looked like the cub of some fierce beast. Lin Feng just hoped it would leave after eating its fill from the garden. If the cub's parents were some kind of supreme beasts and came trampling through here, that would be trouble. For a peaceful life, Lin Feng summed up 3 principles. First, never leave this place. Second, develop steadily, plant more fields, store more food. Third, and most importantly, avoid karmic entanglements. Because Lin Feng didn't want someone suddenly coming out of nowhere for revenge or claiming, "This is your child." Regarding the third point, Lin Feng thought he had done very well. The first time, with the beast skin skirt man, he sent him away with a leaf of cabbage. The second time, with the skinny spirited kid, he sent him away with a bowl of cabbage soup and a bowl. This time, facing the small beast, Lin Feng also did not disturb it. After it was full, it naturally left. But to Lin Feng's surprise, the small beast came back every day for food and drink, consuming an extraordinary amount. Lin Feng, afraid of causing trouble, had no choice but to provide for it generously. Luckily, as he only had himself to feed, the vegetables he planted usually rotted in the field if not eaten. Thinking this way, Lin Feng felt less pained. The outside world continued its relentless forward march. Xiaoman's tribe conquered the strange beasts, expanded their territory south and north, occupying fertile lands. But Miao Rengu's body couldn't hold out for long. As the first generation of Gu practitioners, his body was riddled with too much poison. "My dying wish is to be named after Gu." After saying this, he had his disciples use a turtle shell for divination, and upon receiving an auspicious sign, he believed he had the approval of the ancestor of Gu to change his name. There is no tribe that lasts forever. Xiaoman, too, was merely a mortal of his era, not destined to live long. As he neared 40, he passed away, leaving behind dozens of offspring to fight over the tribal leadership. But no matter how the times developed, The names of Sui and the ancestor of Gu remained firmly etched in every human heart. Sui brought light to the human race. The ancestor of Gu taught the art of Gu, freeing people from the harassment of the giant beasts in the mountains. Statues of Sui and the ancestor of Gu stood tall in various places, while the human race was still embroiled in chaos. Suddenly, a thunderous roar echoed through the mountains and fields. People felt their souls tremble but did not understand what this roar signified. Footprints in the mountains larger than a whole person lying down. In the great marshes, someone saw a fish grow wings and soar into the sky. More and more such news spread. Everyone sensed that something drastic had changed in the world. These giant beasts, they are all descendants of gods and demons. Countless birds and beasts have awakened their divine and demonic blood. Even Gu techniques cannot contend with them. Thus, the era of gods and demons descended upon the humans unprepared. Countless humans became prey. The darkest hour for humanity had arrived. Among them, many descendants of gods and demons turned their eyes towards Lin Feng's residence. But when they saw the small beast napping in the backyard, they all showed fear in their eyes and retreated. Chapter 5: A Walking Chicken and a Four-Legged Snake. Lin Feng remained oblivious to all these developments. However, when he opened the system panel, he noticed that the mail icon on the left almost always had a red dot every day. Each time he opened it, the messages were more frightening than the last. A white snake has turned into a spirit near Lone Wolf Forest, devouring several herb collectors in the mountains. A black carp has become a spirit, eating dozens of fishermen. An ancient demonic ape fought heaven and earth near Eagle Sorrow Gorge, devouring 300 people with its gaping maw. The outside world is just too terrifying. People are being eaten every day. Lin Feng sighed inwardly. Looking around, he now had a small vegetable garden, 2 good fields, and a water storage pond. His house, too, had been repaired and no longer leaked. Except for a furry little beast that wreaked havoc in his garden every day, even settling down in Lin Feng's house. Although he didn't want to get involved in karma, Lin Feng couldn't drive it away. Fortunately, after some time, Lin Feng noticed that the little beast didn't seem to get any bigger. So he guessed that this little beast was probably not some supreme fierce beast, and relaxed. After all, what kind of supreme fierce beast looks so dumb and cute? Thinking about it, being alone was too lonely. Having a little beast for company wasn't so bad. But now, with the outside world becoming increasingly unstable, I must store more food in case of a disaster year. Lin Feng thought, now that fierce beasts were eating people every day outside, unrest might occur. So he melted some of the materials awarded by the system and made a fish hook. He also tore some silk thread from the system's rewards to use as a fishing line. Once everything was ready, Lin Feng shifted his position and went to a spot a bit far from his hut to fish. For ordinary people, catching something huge would be a cause for excitement. But not for Lin Feng. He was always cautious. Sometimes, when the fishing line accidentally wrapped around a big rock, Lin Feng would be nervous for half a day, fearing he might catch some water monster. Despite this approach, Lin Feng often went days without a catch. But he wasn't annoyed. Stability is of utmost importance. Finally, one day, Lin Feng found a 4-legged snake on the hook. It was small, like a loach. First, take it home and raise it. It can be eaten when hungry. So, Lin Feng prepared to take this 4-legged snake home. On the way, a featherless chicken ran over and pecked incessantly at the 4-legged snake in Lin Feng's bucket. Lin Feng was amused, thinking a free-walking chicken that could lay eggs was a good find. Pleased with his rich harvest, Lin Feng happily built a thatched nest for the walking chicken that night. He also threw the 4-legged snake into the water storage pond he had dug. The lazy, fluffy little beast lying in a corner of the vegetable garden became interested upon seeing the 2 new guests, curiously observing them. Lin Feng, however, didn't have such thoughts. He just looked at the 4-legged snake, trying to determine if it was female. If it was, he would find a male to mate with it. As for the featherless walking chicken, Lin Feng also pondered how to make it lay eggs as soon as possible. That night, after eating and drinking his fill, Lin Feng went back to his stone house to sleep. Unlike other cultivators, Lin Feng was very particular about his daily routine. After all, he could get experience points by signing in every day, so sleeping was no hindrance. Cultivation, after all, is about seeking immortality. If I overwork myself every day and suddenly die of a heart attack, what's the point of cultivating? As Lin Feng peacefully fell asleep and entered the realm of dreams, changes unfolded outside his house. The four-legged snake began to speak. Phoenix, if not for our conflict, I wouldn't have been caught by a human while swimming in shallow waters. The featherless ground chicken let out a cold laugh. Had you not plucked my feathers, why would I have chased you to fight? Meanwhile, a lazy creature in the vegetable garden opened its eyes and said to the chicken and snake, "Stop arguing. You haven't tasted anything like the food in this human's garden." Indeed, these are rare delicacies in the world. The crops in Lin Feng's garden were extraordinary, provided by a system that introduced plants not yet known to this world: eggplants, peanuts, bitter melons, winter melons, pumpkins, sweet potatoes, grapes, rice. Hearing this, the four-legged snake, half doubtful, slithered out of the pond and bit into a grape. Its eyes lit up in wonder. The ground chicken, seeing the snake's reaction, couldn't resist and ate a grape too. "Truly a delicacy," exclaimed the chicken, utterly astonished. In one night, the grapes that Lin Feng had painstakingly grown were completely devoured. Meanwhile, Lin Feng dreamt of making wine from his grapes, enjoying his life with a pile of peanuts, a couple of side dishes, and a glass of wine. Upon waking the next day, Lin Feng discovered his backyard in utter chaos. He was devastated, his mind blank at the sight. The grapevine took so long to grow. Suppressing his sorrow, Lin Feng searched for any remaining grape seeds, but found only grape skins and a pond tinged with purple from the grapes. The snake swam innocently, while the chicken's nest held only grape peels and no eggs. "Sigh, that creature must have led them astray," Lin Feng sighed, trying to drive them away. However, they returned the next day as usual. "Please don't ravage my garden anymore. These grapes are for making wine," Lin Feng murmured, maintaining his daily routine. Fortunately, these creatures didn't cause further trouble and ate in moderation. But to Lin Feng's regret, the chicken never laid any eggs. After 5 years of daily check-ins, Lin Feng reached level 199. Alas, breaking through the foundation building stage requires more materials. The stages of foundation building, heaven, earth, and man, varied in difficulty. Lin Feng had struggled to achieve the heavenly foundation building due to his cultivation of 6 spiritual roots, making his progression to the crystallizing stage much more challenging. While qi refining allowed for basic feats like walking on walls, foundation building enabled the control of flying swords, though not sustainable for long. The crystallizing stage, however, brought a surge of internal spiritual power, allowing for the free use of various spells and sustained sword flight. Since I chose the heavenly path for foundation building, why not aim for a heavenly crystallizing stage? Lin Feng thought, his greatest asset being time. Meanwhile, the outside world was undergoing tumultuous changes. More and more divine demon bloodlines emerged, displaying their indomitable power, shattering mountains and overturning seas. Humans seemed insignificant in comparison, many enslaved and living in fear of being consumed. Few who resisted were brutally suppressed by these divine demon forces. The law of the jungle prevailed in the outside world. Yet, Lin Feng remained oblivious to all this, quietly accumulating his strength, hoping to gather the materials for a heavenly crystallizing stage soon.